Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Freedom, Flexibility, and Finances. My name is Chris Angel, your co-host, here with your host, Peter Weller. Pete, what's up, man?
Chris, thanks for that awesome introduction. I appreciate you more and more every single day. You make me look good.
Thank you. I have other shows and I keep thinking I should have like behind me a fog machine and some pyrotechnics and like I could introduce you like a, starting point guard at a.
Right. Well, the way that you do it, it feels like you're introducing me and I'm walking up backstage. I've been hanging out, partying with all my people, and I get to walk up and now I'm in front of the audience.
Yeah.
And it caused me to think, like, how do other people get behind the stage? How do they see everything that's going on? And, diving into it, it's like we as coaches tell a lot of our clients to stop asking me the how-to questions and the why. Well, look, if you ask me a how-to question, you probably don't have the right person in your life. So it's really a who question, not a how-to question.
Whoa.
Right?
Pete, you're dropping truth bombs on me and I haven't even started asking you questions yet. That's awesome. Wow. I love that. Well, I wanted to ask you, I was waiting to see if I had anything else that came up from you just saying, you just kind of took me by surprise with that. I'm like, what?
Right. Well, and think about this. If there's a who involved, do you really care where it's at? So if there's somebody that you want to meet, okay, let's say we want to meet Chris. Where do you live, Chris? What state? We're not going to go what city. What state do you live?
Washington.
Washington. Chris, if you didn't travel and I wanted to meet you, if we didn't have this technology, the where is important. So I would get my I always called it my happy butt. I would get my happy butt in a car or on an airplane, horseback if necessary, if it was important for me to come meet you.
Wow.
So that's why we stopped asking the why and the how-to question. Yet what I'm finding more and more is people really lack some how-tos in things.
Yeah.
Or some like step-by-step instructions or just getting them started. So like lead generation, that's where we were originally going to talk is how does Pete Weller lead generate? How do I do it? So when I first got in the business, I sat on the phone because that's what I was told to do. I was, and I made some money on it. The return on investment was there.
Sure.
And, dialing for sale by owners, dialing the expireds. And then we go through some coursework and you start learning about how to build your business network. Well, the rock skipped across the lake. I didn't hear it. And then you start diving in, you're like, there's got to be a smarter way to build a real estate business.
Dan.
Then
what, calling FSBOs and expires?
Then standing on your feet 3 to 4 hours a day, sometimes 8 or 12, working on New Year's, dialing expireds. Really?
Right.
I don't want to be there. Why do they want to hear from me? So then I started saying, what do I want to do when I grow up in the real estate business? And one of them is I wanted to be known as the guy that always had your back, or I wanted to be the go-to guy that always had the referral. So who do you know? And I built my who over the last 12 months. And I can tell you that return on investment is definitely more worth it than standing at the phone and just always grinding it out. I don't believe in the daily grind.
Let me dive into that. So you say you spent the last 12 months developing the who, meaning what, like a database of like influencers or connectors like that? Like getting to know people?
Connectors as well as contractors, vendors. Look, so, every time you close on a house, you think about it, or 90% of the time we close on a house, we have a mortgage person, we have a title person.
Right.
We all have inspection objections, depending on it's called in the state. At some moment in time, you're going to have an HVAC guy fix the heater and air conditioner. You're going to have a carpet cleaner clean the carpets. You're going to have a handyman replace the doors. You're going to need somebody that's going to look at a roof or a window or the septic or a well. Well, it's one of those things that why not develop those relationships so when you're in the heat of the battle, it's a phone call as opposed to like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
if I just let me pause, because I think this is the part where it'd be very easy for that to skip across the lake right over. It sounds too simple is the thing, right? Like I think everybody knows that they should have a vendor list. But then I really think most agents know, like that would make a lot of logical sense for me to have a vendor list that I've vetted, but then we just don't move into action around doing that. It seems too
Well, here's the thing with just having a vendor list. It's a name and a phone number. There's no relationship. They're a C in your world. So if we actually go back to classifying our relationships in that A, B, and C
Right.
that Coach Hank talks about in his program, 36 to Life, we dive into it and we say, okay, we're going to rate our vendors, A, B, C, and D.
Right.
Well, we have to build those relationships out.
Right.
If they all enter into our funnel at a C level, how do we have a vendor that if I pick up the phone, they say, I will be there. They're just asking, when do I need to show up?
Yeah.
You know, they're asking, where do I need to be? And those vendors, when you build relationships, so how do you build a relationship with a vendor? This is diving down in the dirt.
Yeah.
What's the best thing that you could do? What's the best thing I could do for Chris Angel?
Send me a referral.
Send you a referral. You guys out there thinking about launching a podcast, Chris Angel's your guy.
Nice. Thank you, Pete. There
right?
You go. Yeah.
Yet, how simple is that? How difficult is it? If we're not having top of mind to take care of our people, it's not going to ever happen.
Right.
So I've got to build a relationship where I think of you when somebody mentions a podcast that I go, hey, Chris Angel's your guy.
Yeah. Right. I think most of the people that are going to be drawn to your content, because you're a relationship guy, are relationship people. Yes.
Yeah.
So here's the weird part. Like, most of us are relationship people that are in this tribe. And so when you say like, oh yeah, well, like build not just a vendor list, but go get to know the contractors and the people that surround a real estate transaction. But then why do relationship-based people then not actually go deeper down that action item, right?
They get stressed. They can't do it. It's a task that they haven't mastered. Or they forget that they're building a relationship. And what do relationships take? A lot of times relationships take both time and money. So what does that look like? Sitting down, having a cup of coffee with them, right. Finding out what their kids are doing, finding out what motivates them, finding out what their perfect client is. And it's not about you when you're building a relationship. It's about them. Yeah. And if we actually take the time to figure out them, naturally they're going to figure out what's working for us. And then we want to be, givers gain. So the more that we give of ourselves to them, how can we help them build their business? What's the perfect referral for them? Yeah. Sooner or later, that law of reciprocity is going to kick in and take care of us.
That I totally agree. I think that to my soul, that feels true and accurate, and it feels good. Like when I get to know somebody, I invest in them. I'm like, I like this kind of interaction. And then my logical brain kicks in and I think, oh man, like I can't wait till April. I can't wait till like 2 years from now for this relationship to materialize into business. Like I need something now. And so I'm ignoring the important for the urgent, right? Because I need something now.
So there's two types of business. There's now business and future business. And if you chase enough future business, sooner or later that future business becomes now business and it becomes natural. Yeah. So understand that there's a gap in changing your mindset from knowing that it's the right thing to do and doing it every day. Yeah. As well as making sure that you got food on the table. Right. So what do you have to do to build that relationship? Sometimes we have to go back to an unconventional way. We've all seen the 9 dots where you have to take 4 lines and connect 9 dots, right? Yeah. And we have to draw outside the box. Did you know you can connect those same 9 dots with 1 line? That's why most people need a coach. That's why most people need to understand what a relationship is. Right. Because when you dive down into it, it's finding that other knowledge of how to get from where you're at right now to be able to chase that future business. Would you rather have a heart business or a mind business?
Mine's a heart business all the way.
Right? So if you're stuck in your mind, you've got to find somebody that has a heart business to be able to build that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you in the last episode we talked about, you have a summer special where you were talking about they had like 4 different packages. And one of them was like the client acquisition / follow-up or client creation, client follow-up.
Correct.
Which is sort of what we're talking about. Like, how do we go out and create clients, not just now, but also in our follow-up for the future? That gives you the best of both worlds, the now and the future business.
Yeah. How do you make sure that you're following up? So that's where your brain comes in. You have to put into that systemized approach
Right.
to make sure that you're hitting all of your contact points. And if you actually, as a business owner and a real estate agent, took the time to map down every single point of contact, every time you texted them, every time you sent them a private message, every time you made a phone call or an email,
Yeah.
I would lay odds that that is the same process for every client that you created. And if you can get consistent in that, you can get consistent in your client creation. So when somebody gives you a name, you know how to follow up with them and make sure that they feel the love.
Do you think most people have a system for their follow-up?
Yeah, it's like this. This is what most agents look like.
Yeah.
Is just bags and bags of business cards because they went out networking.
Yeah.
They came home, they threw them into a box, and their spouse is like, "What are you going to do with that?" And if you never have anything to do with any of that stuff, you might as well throw it away.
I'm laughing because in my drawer right next to me here, I've got like 3 drawers of business cards randomly like strewn through the drawers. Like they just sit there.
Right. So what's your system to be able to get it into your CRM and follow up?
Right.
And
yeah,
when we look at this is an odds. Every entrepreneur, every outside salesperson has the drawer full of business cards.
Yep.
So if you're feeling any shame in this, don't. We're all the same.
Right.
We've all got it. And when we master that system of putting that in and follow up, that's where we see the exponential increase in our businesses. That's where those 4 programs come in, dialing it in, dial your systems in, making sure everything's working well.
Right. Let's sort of, so let me try to wrap our conversation so far. So I was originally going to ask you, like, how does Pete generate his leads? And what I'm hearing is like, it's relationship. It's go invest in those relationships. It's giving before receiving, being valuable to the relationships, right? Is this sort of like, am I summarizing?
You hit it on the head.
Yeah.
And then the other part is getting out of your way to go meet new people.
Yeah. It's really good, man. I'm just telling you from my own experience. I've been in business 17 years, right? And I'm just telling you from my own experience, this far down the road, I still struggle with that. Like what I do is I go chase shiny things and I chase the new and I go do that. And if I actually, one of the things that's produced the most ROI for me in 17 years is relationships. Mm-hmm. But it's very easy for me to go chase Facebook ads or for me to go chase, the latest, greatest whatevers. And I'm being very transparent with you, Pete. I don't have a system for my relationships. I'm good at relationships, but it's all natural style. There's no system. And I could kill it way more.
Correct. So here's where I come in. This is the benefit. Chris, it's your business. I've been doing this for 27 years. Guess who still has bags of business cards?
Right. Yeah.
What do? We start focusing on the now, and yet that project takes a back seat. Mm-hmm. So in this course, we are actually coming up with the system. We're developing it. We're showing you exactly what it is. $795 to get you all 3, yet in one specific one, over the course of the next 12 months, we're going to dial it in so you don't have those bags of business cards and you can dial up your relationships. Because how long does it really take? If you have a system in under 5 minutes when you return from an event, this is what creates it. So $795, we actually can cause that return on investment to go for a lifetime on it. Because once the system's established, you're done.
Right.
You just have to do it all the time.
What just popped for me too, as you were saying that, was the power of having a container or a structure or an environment where part of the work isn't just about knowledge and learning in this program. It's we show up and we do the work. Like sometimes that's all it is. I put off the work because doing the work feels painful, right? To do the work.
Yep.
But when everybody's doing the work, and that's what we showed up for, actually implementing the system, creating the system, and learning my own system actually becomes a lot easier because we're all doing that. That's what the meeting's for.
Well, and the accountability starts showing up.
Right. Right.
So when you start realizing, and here's what we break down in the follow-up framework as well, or that client creation, is we identify how much one client or one contact, not even a client, one contact in the database is worth.
Wow.
Now, Chris, you and I both know that once we identify that number, this pile of cards becomes very, very painful. And it not being in the database is more painful than it's sitting in the bag, than the work.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So if we identify that each contact in a CRM is worth $100 or $150, and you've got 100 business cards, or you've got 1,000 business cards, and you're $15,000 short on your budget for the year, that's where all 4 of these tie together. Is it ties all of the systems, the thoughts, the processes in business together. So now you realize the only way that it's going to get done is by you.
Wow.
And that you have every tool in your power to make the money, and you're ultimately responsible for it.
Crazy. That's so good.
It just got deep.
It got deep real fast. I just totally went into my head and my soul. I'm like, whoa, that was deep. I think what I like, Pete, is that, I mean, obviously I like the conversation because it resonates with my soul, relationships, but I like that you have, it's not just the insight, like, oh, that's a great insight. Now I'm inspired, but there's actually a system and a structure to help me now move that forward. So if people want to learn how to jump into those 4 programs for your summer special, like what's the best way for them to take advantage of that?
You know, the best way to do it is let's go ahead and have a conversation. Let's figure out where we need to plug you in first, because you might not need all 4 programs. You might just need one. So let's have the conversation, figure out where best use of your time is going to happen. So a conversation, 15 minutes or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
kindalikepete.com. Scroll down a little bit. You'll see what we affectionately refer here as the boom pow buttons, which this is all a system and model to be able to teach you how to get people to come into a funnel. So guys, if you want to learn the systems, we're going to be teaching you how to use the systems, and you're using it. So scroll down, register for a 15, 30-minute call, kindalikepete.com.
Perfect. Awesome, Pete. Thanks so much for your time, your wisdom. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chris.